Yo, what's up, dogs? I am back once again with a movie review for Flight Risk. And I'm gonna just say that this movie to me was okay. Like, it just was okay. I actually felt like I was stuck in the theater for 3 hours and I was struggling to get through this movie on a Monday at 1:40. There was like 15 of us there, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I was the youngest person in the audience and I was falling asleep. Like I was literally combating my eyes from falling asleep during this movie. That's where I was at with this film. If I saw this on streaming, if this was a Netflix movie, I would have passed out. I would have been done, tapped out for sure. And like I don't know what it is about this movie that I just found kind of boring and uneventful. It just felt very paint by numbers and I I never felt like anyone was in a threat. There were some moments where I was kind of interjecting my own ideas, where I'm like, "Oh, is there going to be a triple cross here?" Like, there's like things that happen in this movie where I was like, "Oh, is this character plotting?" But nothing happens. There's no plotting. There's no scheming. There's no nothing. It's just okay, point A to point B, right? Like the story is simple. You're pretty much just dealing with Madolyn, who's played by Michelle Dockery, who is I guess she's a what is she, an air sheriff, whatever they are, air marshal, or something like that. Because I don't understand why at the beginning of the movie that is she captures Topher Grace's character Winston out in the middle of Alaska, like he's just hiding from the law. Well, not from just the law, but from the mob as well. He's hiding from everybody. But she shows up and captures him as like I'm assuming she was an FBI agent or some CIA agent, right? Like hot on the tail of this character this character. But then it's like later on when she's talking to Daryl once they get on the plane because she's going to transfer Winston from out in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, to Anchorage, and then from Anchorage to probably New York to stand trial for the because he doesn't want to go to jail. He wants a plea case, and he's like, I'm going to rat out everybody and save his own butt. So he has to go to the court, right? And this is all in the trailer, I believe. And but when she's talking to Daryl, Daryl's like, "Oh, you're like a air marshal or whatever," and she's like, "Yeah." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Do air marshals have that kind of authority?" I just thought there were people on planes to make sure planes don't get blown up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think they were actually out in the field hunting down people like Dog the Bounty Hunter. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of confused as like what her actual job role was in this movie, other than maybe she's special forces. I don't know. They don't really explain it, and I'm just kind of sitting there going, "Oh, okay." I didn't know air marshals could do that, kind of outside the plain work. You know what I'm saying? So let's get down with these characters for a second. And I would just like to say it is a very small cast, and it is essentially shot in one location, which is inside the plane, the little biplane that they're flying from nowhere, Alaska to Anchorage, Alaska, right? And the characters that we have in this is Winston, who's played by Topher Grace, who is like an accountant. He's very nerdy. He's got anxiety, but I want to say like at times I thought he was plotting and scheming and trying to figure his way out of the situation that he is currently in. Like I know he said he wanted to do a plea deal, but at the same time, I really felt like he wanted to get the heck away from Madeline. Like the entire time, I felt like he was going to do some kind of double cross or triple cross when he's on the plane, and I felt like he was always trying to plot and scheme, but and maybe that's just the way he was approaching the dialogue because he's very bantery and very quick with what he's saying. And I was sitting there, I'm like, is this character going to do a triple cross? Like, is he going to kill Madeline and free himself or something like that? Like, I don't know. I just was feeling that, but none of that actually happens. Then we have the character Madeline, who's played by Michelle Dockery, and I don't like this character. For some strange reason, she just does silly things. And sometimes I'm like, okay, um, yeah, I don't know. There's some scenes in this movie where I'm just sitting there, I'm like, this is absolutely dumb. And I will get to them. But I also was just kind of like, I don't know, man. Something about this character just didn't work for me. I don't know. I was just kind of like not engaged with her at all. And sometimes she has some interesting banter with the other characters, like with Winston. Like she's trying to come across as this badass, but I never felt like she was a badass person, you know. And they try to explain a little bit of her backstory of her being like there's some tragedy that happens in her career, and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. So she might have a little trauma or a little PTSD, but she's back on the field, and there's a reason why she's back on the field, etc. Um, but like, and I won't really go in. There's a secondary plot that goes on in this movie, because it's not just about traveling, getting Winston to the court case. There is an unraveling of who's in cahoots with who and the mafia that is controlling things in the end, right? Like someone has been bought out and there's a mole within the precinct or the division of air marshals or whatever. And she's trying to figure that out as well. And then she has to deal with Daryl. And then she also has to fly the plane. Like this woman could do everything and she gets her butt beaten up many, many times, but she's a survivor. You know, she can handle it all. She is crazy talented. I don't know. It's just like she's kind of just boring. I don't know. She has one good scene in the movie that I was like, oh, that's smart. Because like, but like in my mind, I'm like, when did the character die? Like, why didn't she just shoot him? Anyways, then there's Daryl, right? Like, I feel like Madeline does make some really bad decisions in this movie, where it's just like, obviously, she has to make bad decisions. Like, she has to be a little dumb in order for this story to play along. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think you kind of just don't get into this character because she has to do dumb things in order for there to be a story in a small little plane. And then we have Daryl, which is played by Mark Wahlberg. And I actually thought Daryl was, and Mark Wahlberg himself was funny and interesting. And the character is creepy. Like, he is sadistic and he has a kink. He's definitely into fetishing. And he is crazy, but in a cool character type of way. But also, he's dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone in this movie ended up just being dumb because they do dumb things, right? And I kind of liked Daryl whenever he was actually active in the movie because he was like I felt like a legitimate threat, so to speak, because he even comes across about like how he's not going to kill them right away. He's going to torture them. He's going to make love to them. He's going to do everything to them that they are not going to enjoy. And he comes across as kind of creepy and spooky, and you're like, I don't want this guy to touch me. You know what I'm saying? So he does a good job at becoming a threat on the airplane. However, the threat itself is easily neutralized multiple times in this movie, and it is kind of comical at how many times Daryl just sucks at his job. Like I get it. It's like his like uh I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but his brain wants to do dirty deeds to these people, and that's what makes him screw up, I guess, because he kind of wants to just like bang them the whole time. It's kind of weird. And I think that's why he keeps on fumbling the ball every time he tries to kill them. And it's so silly. It's really silly. And then I wrote down here, I just wanted to point this out because, like, again, I never actually felt like Daryl was a threat, but he does come across as threatening. But Madeline is able to easily handle him almost in every situation. And there is a situation where even Winston helps Madeline survive this situation. You know what I'm saying? But like Daryl really comes across as like he could be a threat. Maybe on land, he's a threat, but in the air, he doesn't come across as a threat. But he's creepy. He's just a weird character, right? And so there's this character in the movie named Hassan, and I wrote it down here twice, right? Because I even as I was researching this, I was actually kind of surprised. But in the movie, when she has to take control of the plane, she's in contact with like air support with a character named Hassan, who's played by uh I'll be honest, I'm probably gonna mispronounce his name, but Monib Abhat, hopefully. And that character is the voice who's on the radio. And so naturally, at the end of the movie, you see the voice on the radio, and you do expect maybe a hug. There's nothing. at all. But then when I was researching the character, because I wanted to know who the name was that played Hassan, there's two Hassans, and the other Hassan is played by Maz Ali, who is the actual physical body, the representation in the movie of Hassan. So they didn't use the same voice actor and actor, like the voice actor as the body double too, right? Like they just had a totally different actor show up. And it just looked weird, and I actually was sitting there going, why are these two not talking to each other? Because they have a lot of dialogue together, and it's kind of corny. The dialogue they have is absolutely corny because, like, I know that Hassan is trying to de-escalate the seriousness of the situation of her flying this plane, and so he's flirting with her a lot and like asking her out on dates, and it's really weird and kind of dumb, but I guess it works in the sense that he's trying to de-escalate, but I don't like it because especially the payoff at the end is they don't talk to each other, they don't hug each other, they don't even say, so how's that date? Like the end of the movie, you know what I'm saying? And you're kind of just like, well, what was the whole point of all that? Like there's no payoff to it, you know? And like, yeah, there's no payoff. And the ending, uh, like I said, yeah, this movie is just okay. Actually, it's probably crap. Now, the more I think about it, it's not a good movie. It's not good. Yeah. Anyways, what I'm just gonna say here. I expected more plot twists. There wasn't any. I was expecting Winston to turn on Madolyn. There isn't. Um, there's things in here I'm not even going to discuss because I don't want to really spoil the movie for you. I really do wish that there was more vista shots of Alaska and the mountains. They're there, but they're not nice. Like they're just there. Like I kind of wish there was more beautiful shots, but I don't think it was probably in the budget for them to get do some like really beautiful shots. And the end itself is absolutely laughable. It really is. It's just I don't even want to. I don't even want to. But I laughed. I laughed. I laughed. I did. I had an audible chuckle with the way this movie ended because there's like what happens with Daryl, what happens with Winston. There's no hug or relation at all with Hassan, and now it makes sense because it's two different actors, so nothing would line up. And so yeah, man, it's just a corny ending, and like you like oh man, I don't want to ruin this ending, but I'm just like it's not even a good ending. You're not even going to watch this movie, but like the end is like okay, so okay, so they land the plane, whatever, and the end is like Winston needs to get to the hospital. And I'm sitting there watching this. They close the ambulance door on Winston and stuff, and there's like an ambulance driver and a person in the ER or whatever, the person in the back. And I'm sitting there in watching this movie, going, she still needs to get Winston to New York, I guess, or Seattle, New York, whatever, right? Um, and her whole job in this movie was to protect Winston at all costs. But now she's not going in the ambulance with Winston, and they're just going to let Winston drive off in an ambulance unchecked with no cop, no nothing, not her. And I was just sitting there going, what is going on here? And then something happens. And I was still like, this is so dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. Guys, the ending's dumb. It's laughable. Okay, I'm out of here, man. The movie's not good. I'm going to tell you right now. Don't even don't even waste your hard-earned money on this movie. Just don't. Go see Presents. I'm surprised I'm even saying that. Yeah, go see anything else but this movie. Wait till this movie comes out on Netflix because it's bound to happen in the next couple of weeks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just save your money, okay? Save your money. Anyways, on that note, I'll never own this movie in my collection either, just so you know. Never. I don't even care if it's a Mel Gibson movie. It's just one of those movies where I'm like, yeah, that one's not going into my director collection. Not willingly, that's for sure. Anyways, I'm out of here, guys. Hit me a like, drop me a comment below if you like Flight Risk and we're not, and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell because I'm always reviewing movies and trailers. And I'm out of here, guys. It's Wednesday, it's hump day, it's my day off. So, everybody out there, don't work too hard. We're almost there for another weekend. Have a good one, everyone. Peace out. Bye.